Did I mention it's season 2? You're now listening to season 2 of When Queens Link. Thank y'all for stopping by.
So I'm on my way to work, and I realized something as I was driving. Couple things, actually. But I'm trying to be brief, because one of the biggest things I realized is that, first of all, I had a conversation with my daughter about what's appropriate. What's appropriate, right? 6-year-old. What's appropriate, what's inappropriate. And especially as it pertains to being my child, being a child of God, first and foremost, being as smart and creative as she is. And it just gave me so much energy. It gave me so much life to be able to speak into her that way. First of all, also, if you don't talk to your children like they have something to offer you in the conversation, they'll never be able to learn from you either. But it's crazy the way God works, right? And sets things up. And when you take time to actually listen and be in tune with what he needs you to do for the outcome to benefit you the most, or for you to be able to have the most impact on somebody else's life, it's just amazing how it all fits together. When you're focused on your path and your lane, and you're not focused on anything anybody else is doing, unless in an obstruct traffic in your lane, right? And that doesn't mean, sometimes there won't be distractions. There's a lot of things going on. But again, me thinking about this conversation, or reflecting on this conversation of what is appropriate and what's inappropriate with my daughter earlier this morning, just again helped me put this kind of metaphor into even more perspective. Because the phone, trying to work, and in the car, that at one point I realized, like, okay, there's a car passing me. And sometimes I would, before this morning, I would kind of get a little irritated, think damn, am I driving too slow? But no, in fact, I'm actually just driving at the appropriate speed for everything that's going on in my life. I use the word life, and I meant to keep the metaphor of the car, right? I'm driving appropriately at the appropriate speed, right? To maximize me getting from point A to point B, while not disrupting traffic for anybody else, while also not causing a head-on collision. I'm doing everything that I can to focus on what needs to happen in that moment, instead of focusing on everything in that moment and where you're trying to go, because it's a very fine line between being able to do both at the same time. Road of life, and everybody on their own, path, and everybody's on their own journey. That's cool. But it takes a lot of practice for a person to actually believe that enough to be able to apply that to their life and their situation. And again, me thinking about what's appropriate and what's inappropriate, and talking to my daughter, realized after some reflection on that conversation, coupled with some talking to God before me jumping on this video, in this self-reflection, and me in the middle of me doing work last night, also pulled an all-nighter. So, well, I got 3 hours of sleep, because I was just so geeked about this project that I'm working on at work. And it's the whole time, though, I kept thinking, God, this better work out. Because I'm spending so much more time pouring into this project, into this place, into this position, as I have in the past, and as I have said I wasn't going to do in the past. And I won't say the word suffering came to mind, but I rebuked that. I was about to say my business has been suffering, but it hasn't. It's just been put on pause a little bit. And anytime I take a break from my business, it is, honestly, it's because God has shown me there's some more grace that I need to give myself. Breaks are okay. God has shown me that breaks are useful, and that I should not feel bad for needing to take a break from my business, because I am focused on so much alignment in other places. Is the day that they have the street blocked off where I normally park, and I don't have my waist trainer on. But as somebody told me yesterday, I don't need to be training my waist. Anyhow, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so focused on being more gracious with myself, and giving as much grace to myself and to my growth with my business. And you know what's crazy is the fact that when you actually surrender to that point of grace, when you actually surrender to God's call to break and to rest, you actually come out of that season the opportunity to fast or rid yourself of the negative energy, the blockages that you may have had. I don't know, I just gotta praise God, because it's so amazing how he makes things align in my life. I wrote down some curriculum this time last year that I didn't know how I was going to use it or where I was going to use it. There was not a program or an opportunity, but since that time, the number of students that I have been able to impact, the number of young adults that I've been able to touch has increased. And it wasn't something that I had to fight for. It was something that he was just like, look, I see you working before the position. I see you trying to drill out your purpose. God has just opened up so many opportunities just from me writing out the vision that he gave me. Just from me being obedient, just from me submitting to the call that he has on my life, to taking decisions to him in prayer, to actually applying the discernment he's given me, and also giving people grace, and then also giving myself grace. And I just go back to, again, the metaphor of the driving, right? If I would have been more focused on what somebody else was doing in their car or in their world, in their lane, I might not be where I am right now, sitting here having this conversation with you. I might have stopped dreaming a long time ago. It's crazy because my brother was applying for this job, and he asked me to send him an example, one of my cover letters as an example. So I did, and he sent me this text message back. So like, how old are you? You got 10 years worth of experience in some of these skill sets, or in some of these roles on your resume and on your cover letter. And it is definitely a blessing. But again, if you focus on all of those things around you versus on where you're going, and how the moment you're in can either propel you or block you from getting to where you want to be and where you're going, you'll never get there. You'll never get there. And I have this idea that I've written about on my blog entitled God Promoted Me, right? So although I'm saying, hey, these are the things that I need to do,
I'm fully aware that it's God's positioning of me into certain spaces, into certain networks, into certain circles, into certain friendships, hell, even into the releasing of certain relationships. And I cannot pretend like it's all me and just my focus level, because I get distracted often. Some of the stuff that I've written, sometimes I have to go back to curriculums that I have created. Sometimes I have to go back to resources that I have collected for God to give me another lesson that I am capable of doing much greater things than I can even imagine, and that they can be accomplished with His guidance and with Him ordering my steps. And it all, again, especially during the breaks when you feel like so-and-so's business is flying, why isn't mine? Or it feels like you're pouring into supporting X project, or it feels like you're supporting versus leading, or when it feels like you're going at an inappropriate speed, or when it feels like you're traveling as fast as you can and you're not caught up to everyone else because you're tailing the end. God could have, a roadblock up there that's meant for somebody else, or could have, traffic slowed down to keep you from something intentionally, or to protect you, to cover you from something intentionally. And I don't know. It all boils down to, again, where are you going? And how is this moment either enhancing your journey to get you there, or diminishing your opportunities to get you? And quiet as it's kept, my ultimate goal is to, when life is done, arrive at heaven and God say, girl, you killed that. You took everything I gave you and you made more out of that situation. Or you enhanced the lives of other people, or you impacted what others looked at as less than and took for granted. I just want my ultimate, where I am right now and what is going to get me to that point, the point in which God is like, girl, there's nothing left for you to do here, is peace and acceptance and discernment. Anyhow, this video wasn't even supposed to be this long. I got some work to do, some more work to do, because as y'all know me, this is part of work. But I don't know, maybe I'll do some more of these. Maybe I'll do a part B. Maybe I'll do some shorter ones, because again, I was not expecting to be on here this long. I am just so excited in this moment of transition. I know, I shared with some people that I had transitioned to from one job to the next back in June, but it still feels like transition to me. And I wonder if that's what consistent growth feels like a constant transition. But if you made it this far in this video, I just want to say thank you. I hope it impacted you. I hope you've gotten something out of it. I hope it's something that you feel like you can share with other people to enhance their, I don't know, I'm all about enhancing people's human capital, enhancing people's sense of self-worth. So if you got something out of this that makes you feel like you have been empowered for your day, share it with somebody else. Like this video on whatever platform you're on, comment on whatever platform you're on, give me some feedback, and I don't know, for the life of me, I just want to say celebrate something about yourself. I mean, that is the motto of my business, but however, Ebony Sun Chicago, we're all about making sure people understand their worth and how valuable they are to the kingdom. Like, you have something to offer. My pastor says it so well. Pastor Troy, Quinn Chapel and me, shout out to him. I am so excited for today. As I spin around and get some good light. Ooh. Wherever you decide to go, remember to take a throne with you. Remember to celebrate yourself. But yeah, let me go. I got a lunch appointment with a colleague, and I need to do some work for my students. I'm doing work for y'all right now, and this probably will benefit my students because I'm thinking about having them put together a podcast as an assignment. We'll see. Anyhow, hope everybody has a peaceful day. Don't let nobody spoil your light or dim your light. Don't let anybody spoil. I created this platform to pour into the lives of Black women, women who society says is at the bottom and need to be last and mistreated for everything. And to create a space that can uplift us and showcase God's glory working within us.
Is she promoting her business again?
Yes.
Because the digital marketer is.
Again.
So until she sells out,